police officers not really engaging them. It's been peaceful so far, and this is what you would expect, and this is what you would hope for all the way into the afternoon. And, rapper YG not making it, one thing he did tweet out, I understand, or was on Instagram, no looting allowed, and hopefully everyone will abide by that.
Well, one of the things I'm noticing with these two groups, Scott, is, even before we went on the air and just watching your shot, it seems as if they're all staying together. The big concern that, for those who might cause ne'er-do-wells, so to speak, are those that dive off of the main group and they take off. Everybody's been very orderly, staying right in there together. I mean, are you seeing the same type of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. And, from experience of watching these things, usually when the marchers are allowed to march and they continue on in a certain direction and the police don't really interfere with them, we don't see those splinter groups break out, at least not early on in the marches. On Saturday, when we had that problem in the Fairfax district, LAPD got a call, an urgent call, right at the corner of 3rd and Fairfax, and they had to respond. And that seemed to incite the crowd because they wanted to move, and LAPD didn't let them. It was a tough situation, I think, for everyone involved. Today we don't see that, though, for the most part, except for that one stand that LAPD made with the National Guard, and that was you're not going to go to the Kodak Theater. They weren't going to let them down that iconic stretch of Hollywood Boulevard. They forced them to turn around and come back eastbound. But, yeah, Philip, we haven't really seen any splinter groups go off and cause problems. And when the LAPD did actually form a line, we didn't see any aggressive action towards the police. We didn't see anything thrown. We didn't see individuals getting too close. They try and keep a barrier. So far it's been very peaceful, and hopefully that's what we'll see throughout the afternoon. But I do believe the two crowds will come together. You can push into the intersection for me, Jamie, where they made the turn. It'd be in the bottom of our screen. If that's
it did look like they were starting to turn.
Yeah, they turned south. And if that's Wilcox there, if we can push in on the street sign, if they take that further south, it's not Wilcox, but it's going to put them close. They go south here, they're going to hit Sunset. And the other group is coming eastbound on Sunset. So it looks like they're going to merge. It looks like there's some sort of coordination happening with the two groups down here, that they're going to get together. And when they do, that's going to be a huge crowd. It will be several thousand at least.
Well, one of the things I think that is lost just from above and here in studio looking there is there's really an effort by people, at least yesterday, and I'm certain the same today, there's an effort by the people involved to self-police. You could hear them talking to each other saying, don't do this, don't do that. They went so far yesterday as providing water to people who were participating. So there was a very coordinated effort to try, and they worked very well with LAPD in many circumstances yesterday, getting their opportunity to protest another 45 minutes. And so I totally believe what you're saying there, Scott, is that there might be a coordinated effort here on the part of LAPD and the protesters to try to let them gather together and do exactly what you're saying. Avoid that confrontation that can spark, who knows, because there is a lot of anger involved in why people have chosen to come out and do this peaceful protest. And you don't want that bubbling to the surface. You'd rather let them do exactly what they're doing, which is, like you said, the constitutional right to gather, to protest, to have their voices heard. And it's been interesting to watch all of the participants really try to keep those involved on track. This is what our mission is, and it's been very impressive to watch, especially here in LA, how many people have been trying to do that.
Yeah, and so far, you're exactly right about what sort of transpires, at least what we've seen from the helicopter. If the crowd is allowed to go where they want and the LAPD or the authorities have a very small footprint, that certainly helps things not get to that boiling point, to not spill over and become violent. And that's what we're
circumnavigating planet Earth.
Underground Radio.
Underground Radio.
Right versus wrong. Good versus evil. God versus the devil. What side you on?
Underground Radio.
Hey, I believe we are live here. There we go. Pictures on the screen. Where are you, Rach?
I'm here.
There
Ooh.
you go. Gee, it's still up pretty loud from the settings we had last night. with those guys in the studio. I'll turn their headphones down. These guys had their headphones up pretty loud, didn't they? How are you, Rach?
I'm good. How are you, Pete?
Yeah, not bad. Been a long week. Made a bit of progress.
Been a long week, but it's gone really quickly, I think.
Yeah, it has, hasn't it?
It has.
Hey, might I just take this opportunity to not only turn them up, Rach, keep going. Down, 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 down. How's that? Up, down, down, down. Oh, how's that? About right there?
A little
Up.
bit less. And my microphone too
What? Down?
is very loud.
Well, no, your microphone stays where it is. It's just your
Okay, just my headphones.
How's
Okay,
that?
yeah, that's good. Oh, look, that was terrible. Did you see that long, pokey tongue?
Long pokey
I
tongue.
always thought that Big Brother were using my eyebrows. I wonder what they use my tongue for.
Hey, look, I got another shot here.
Speaking of Big Brother, that's back on Monday night, and it looks like the new Big Brother house is down in Sydney. Is that right? From the
right.
footage that I've seen on TV, it's looking like it's at Manly. You know that big headland they have there at Manly?
Yeah.
So it appears to be Sydney.
So the
So
Big
I
Brother-
guess we will find out.
Big Brother house is going to be at Manly, hey?
Well, the Big Brother house at the Gold Coast burnt down, so
Yeah.
maybe they decided not to
So
rebuild there.
Did they decide not to build up here anymore because there's too
Well,
many arsonists on the Gold Coast?
I'm speculating. I am speculating, so I don't actually know, but
Hey, did you see that footage we were watching before from the BLM march in LA?
yeah.
Rapper YG was going to turn up for that, but he's not turning up. Now, rapper YG, in case people might not be aware, is he's an American rapper and actor from Compton in California. In 2009, he released debut single "Toot It, Boot It," featuring T.Y. Dolla $ign. He's peaked on the charts before, made the Billboard Hot 100, all that sort of stuff. He was going to be there at the protest today, but he's not. But he did stress to all the people involved, no looting.
No looting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys listen. I know I've got a few listeners in California too. So the word from Mr. Rapper YG, no looting, guys. It's not cool.
No, not cool. I mean, you know, there's a lot of innocent people that are getting caught up in their businesses, and you know, and it's businesses that are run by all sorts of people from every background. So you know, that's not good to see. It's not good to see people getting injured or killed. You know.
Yeah.
But I mean, of course, they want to get their message out there, so they've got the right to protest. But yeah, looting, not good, not cool.
Yeah. Hey, before we take up the whole show, Rach, we do have a special guest tonight that we've been promoting throughout the day.
Yes, I'm very excited actually because when was the last time we saw Genesis? Got to be a few years ago now, 2013?
Yeah, I think we saw him when the Commission were touring and they had those guys out here from the States.
Mr. Solomon G and Jack.
Mr. G Reality and
Mr. G Reality.
Minister R&B.
Minister R&B.
Yeah. That was a cool music video shoot too in the jail. That was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we got to do a robbery, a jail scene, drug scenes.
And prior to that was Seven from the US. I love Seven.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Mr. G Reality and Jack. Minister R&B as well, but I just love Seven. What an amazing guy he is.
He's an amazing musician, you know. He's a very gifted musician. Anyhow, tonight we're going to be talking with Genesis, so it's time to try and see if I can have some success with the live technology. What do you reckon the chances are, Rach?
I think they're pretty good.
Do you reckon I can do it? Do you reckon I can do it? I love flying by the seat of my pants in this gig, don't I?
You do.
Yeah.
I think it's the
Right.
only way you roll, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. We live dangerously. We live on the edge. Now, anything can happen here. This is the fun of doing live internet streaming radio. By the way, we're on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and undergroundradio.com.au.
We are, and tonight we're actually on YouTube, so this is very
Oh, yeah?
exciting.
Those guys last night were a bit devoed that we weren't on YouTube. absolutely anything's possible. I mean, he might not answer the phone. He might have a wrong number. He might be out to dinner. He might have forgotten about the interview.
Oh, I don't think he's forgotten. There's no chance of that.
Yeah. Well, there's more than one way to skin a cat, too. Look at that. Hey! It's working. Hang on. There we go.
Hello.
Hey, dude, how are you? You just have to turn down your, if you're monitoring online, just turn down your, the YouTube or Twitch or Facebook or whatever you monitor, because you'll get a delayed signal. There's a bit of a delay coming through.
Yeah, I just left the chat. Can you hear me? Is it all good now?
Yeah, that's good. What were you watching on Facebook?
Yeah, on Facebook.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I like to hear that it's actually working, but it's when we were talking to another artist we know in North Carolina, there was a 7-second delay, and every time we finished talking, there's like this big gap, and in the end, it was doing his head. And how you been, bro?
I've been good. How have you guys been?
Yeah, good. How's the family?
Really good. Really good. Growing fast.
Yeah.
Kids are big now. They're 11 and 8.
Wow.
So, it's been a while. It was 2013 that I last saw you guys.
Yeah. Gee, it is amazing how time flies. I always think actually kids are a really good measure of time. Like, you don't look much different than when I saw you last. But kids are a good measure of time.
I've done myself up, so just for you guys.
Yeah. So, Manju, you've been in the music, the rap game, the scene for a while now.
Yeah. Officially kicked off in 2007. So, about 13 years, almost 14. Since we started the mission, anyway.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. And actually, that's when we started Underground Radio in 2007. So that's about the same time, 13 years. And so where are you these days? In Sydney or the Central Coast?
Yeah, we moved to the Central Coast. So really not long after that last tour that I saw you guys on, we sold our place in Sydney and we moved up the Central Coast. We had to make a decision. We were going to move to the coast. We were going to move up to the Blue Mountains. Sydney was becoming expensive, and also with the kids getting older and about to start school at the time, we were kind of tossing up where we wanted to raise them. So we made the decision, Central Coast, which I had no idea about the coast, didn't know anyone here, but I don't think I'll go back to Sydney now.
Yeah. So you're loving it on the Central Coast. It's a beautiful location for sure.
Yeah, we love it. We love it. And I was so used to Sydney life, but now every time I go, you get to this point where you hit this one road, Pennant Hills Road, and suddenly all the traffic stops and everything's horrible. And I'm like, oh, why? And I never realized how bad it was, but now I'll never go back.
Yeah, so you're not regretting your decision in any way?
Not at all. It was the best, absolute best thing for us, for the family, for the kids. So yeah, it was the right decision.
Yeah, that's awesome. And loving the pictures you got up on the wall behind you. They look awesome. So are these some albums or?
Yeah, they're just they're the three main releases that I put out. You've got Redemption, which was my first album, and then you've got the Commission Life album here in the middle, and then that was I Am Legacy, which you guys know very well.
Yes.
And since those have been the major releases, I've released a whole bunch of singles since then, but I've been working on an album since 2013, and I'm still working on it, and I'm very close to finishing it.
Wow, that sounds like a labor of love.
Yeah, awesome, man. Can't wait to hear it. Yeah. I mean, being someone who's been on the music scene for quite a while, I mean, since 2007, I mean, that's a long while ago now when you consider the guys we had in here last night were only early 20s, you know. How do you think the scene's changed in, you know, even in the last 5 years or so? Because it's just styles are changing, and I think, you know, how you share your music and how you monetize your music. I mean, there's two different ways of looking at it. I mean, there's the art and there's the business, but there's, it's you got to marry those two together somehow. And I think, follow the art firstly, of course, but you still got to make ends meet at the end of the day, but it's it's an interesting business.
Well, it's changed a lot because when I first started, MySpace was still the big thing.
Yeah, we remember that.
The way I actually got connected in with everybody was through MySpace, and you had your little artist page, and you had your songs that you put on there, and that's how I ended up with people like Seven and the Gospel Gangsters and stuff like that. Whole different industry back then. Now, with all the algorithms and social media and stuff like that, I feel like I feel my age. I feel like I'm an old man sometimes.
Yeah.
Trying to keep up with how everything is run these days and done these days.
Yeah, that's right. You've really got to keep up with the technology and the new platforms that are coming through and the new apps, and everything's changing so quickly. I mean, just look at 2020. I mean, it's so different to 2019. And anybody that had any plans for, how you were going to record or you were going to go on this tour, or I think you were saying earlier, I mean, any people with marketing visions of, 2020 vision, like,
yeah.
Hasn't 2020 been just a big curveball,
Man, it's been something else. Actually, you wouldn't, I saw a meme, and I can't remember the exact words, but it kind of outlined something along the lines, if I was to tell you in 2015 that in the year 2020, all these things would happen, you would never believe it. And this year is like, I've never experienced anything like this in my life. It's crazy.
No, it is. And I love one going around at the moment, and it's got the Doc and Marty from Back to the Future, and it's got, whatever you do, do not press 2020, which I think is great.
I actually, I saw some news article recently. There was some underwater cave or something that they found. I think they said they found 30 or 40 new species of animals. And then I saw all these comments of people saying, like, seal that cave back up. This is not the year to be, like, finding new species of animals, and who knows you're going to unleash on the world. So
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Well, I've dug out a couple of your music videos that we'll play a little bit later on. But just before we went live tonight, I was just rolling a bit of footage from the BLM protest in LA, and they said that rapper YG was going to be there, said he was going to make an appearance, and then apparently he's not going to be there, and he was saying to everybody, no looting. And I think it's really interesting, just these spokespeople for the people that have come out. And that's the weird thing about how we vote for a party and then they form a government, and they don't really seem to represent us, the people. And you've got, like, even Barack Obama. He's basically he's like this one of many spokespeople for coloured people in the States. But I think, like, rappers and hip hop and music, just the whole scene. It's a voice. It's a way of communication for the people, and I think that's what hip hop's been about, and that's why it's just so powerful. The whole rap scene, and the message that comes through in music, and it's just so powerful.
Yeah, I think a lot of the reason why hip hop resonated with me, in my younger years, was because I was victimized as far as racism goes. My father's Indian and my mother's Australian. And I had some experiences growing up. I never really looked at myself any different, but then I had some experiences that happened to me, which still to this day, I feel like changed my life for the worse. And still to this day, there's a lot of anger and a lot of things that I have to deal with because of that. And hip hop, to me, I think that's why I clung even more tightly to it, because I could understand some of the things that some of the artists were saying. It resonated with me as a teenager who was suddenly finding myself being attacked for my culture and things like that. Music is powerful. Music is a really powerful forum, and I always say we need to use music for more than just entertainment. Like, there's an entertainment factor, but when you see the things that like what are happening in the world today now, we have an opportunity to really like spark some sort of change or conversation that may lead to change. And I think it's important for artists to really, too, not just jump on the bandwagon because everybody else is doing it, but really do it because we care and we want change.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, when you're writing, do you write from your own perspective, or do you like to write and have your lyrics be a voice to the people?
I do both. I actually think a lot of the reason why this album that I'm working on now has taken me so long is because I've tried to get away from just giving a generalized opinion and really go deep down into, what I really feel and think about certain things. Because I feel like it's relatable. Like when we begin to understand that we all go through similar things and similar struggles, that's when music becomes alive. So for me, I feel like now my writing is more a reflection of what I'm seeing around me, how I feel about it.
Yeah.
It's definitely more to that direction.
Mm. And so is music and your art, what you do, is it an outlet for you? Is it just a creative outlet, or is it more a way of you to really communicate what you feel on subjects and matters? And I probably see a whole lot of new songs coming out with new lyrics, just following all the protests and that, and what's going on around the world at the moment, because I haven't heard much stuff of late, but I think with big things that happen in the world, there's often ways to really try and make some sense of what's going on, and communicating that through your music, and which will resonate with fans and listeners, that sort of thing.
Yeah, for me, so the album that I'm working on is called Therapeutic Violence, and I'm actually treating it almost as a therapy session, so it's like an outlet. So when you talk about like entertainment versus it being an outlet or whatever it may be, it's definitely what I'm working on right now. Is just, it's like almost like my type of therapy. I'm using the music to really kind of like work through some things that I think I've struggled with in my life. So for me, it's definitely an outlet, and and I feel like if people get something out of that along the way, because they can, hear something in it that they relate to, then hopefully it helps others. But for me, it's definitely an outlet at the moment.
Yeah. Do you prefer to work as an individual, as doing solo stuff, or do you find that you work better as an artist when you get to collaborate with others? And do you think collaboration is the way to go to really, get the creative juices flowing, so to speak?
I do a lot of collaboration. I've always done a lot of collaboration, and I think that's come from, I guess, even with the commission, I've always seen other people that are kind of similar to me and wanted to help them, step up as well. So a lot of my collaboration comes out of that. But I do find, so you were talking about Seven before, Seven's one of my good friends.
Yeah.
And I've released some singles recently with Army Regime. He's a guy from New York as well. And every time I work with these dudes, I let them do what they do first. And then once I hear what they do, I then write, because I feel like that makes me elevate to a different level, because they bring so much, especially someone like Seven is a lyrical genius. So for me, I've got to be like, all right, if I'm going to go toe to toe with him on a track, then I better like really step it up. So I think collaboration is a way of, growing in your craft.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really smart approach to it, and to me that makes sense. It's like when you walk into a room full of people, if you're at a party or something like that, just see what the scene is, see what's going on, see what the vibe is before you kick off with a conversation, and just you've really got to, you got to fit in and make sure that, what you're doing is, it's going to gel with the same stuff that everybody else is down with, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, I think that's the thing about music too, and when you collaborate is that you're almost like a muse, or they're a muse for you as well, and you get that, creativity, you bounce off each other. So that's the great thing about jamming as well. So, with musicians and all that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I found that even with like the commission, like your brother Tim, when we got together and we did that album Life, we put that album together in about 6 months. But that was, as far as a creative process, that was my absolute favorite project I've worked on, because all of us just vibing off each other, it really brought out something special, and that mix of different styles and stuff. It was just something different to when you're working on an individual project.
Yeah, I really I love, the stuff the commission did and the whole tour and just the vibe when they're on stage. And it's all just such positive energy stuff. I mean, you can't but help, just feeling really good at that gig. I mean, just the energy that comes off the music, and it's positive, and it's just just so many young people there, and just for them to be getting such positive energy out of a live performance is extraordinary. And I mean, and the gigs are just packed as well. So, I mean, you're obviously doing something right. You've got a lot of popularity going on with the fans there, that's for sure.
Yeah, I really miss it, I really miss those tours. Like some of those events we did, specifically in Brisbane, there was one event we did with Seven and Rain, and I think you guys were there too, and that stands out as one of my absolute favorites. I haven't actually done anything like that as far as all of us being on tour together, and we haven't done that in a long. We try to use that outlet and our own personal faith. Most of us believe in God and stuff, so to be able to get on stage and just give a positive outlook in our music, when a lot of what you hear these days is very negative. We want to counter that, because you need a positive outlook as well, especially young people these days. There's got to be another voice.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, dude, you'll be the first guy we've had on the show this week who either in person or in his music video won't be smoking joints. So we've had quite a wide variety of artists on the show, and like in the intro to the show, it's right versus wrong, good versus bad, God versus the devil. Whose side are you on? And that's the thing I love about the whole rap scene. I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of choices in life, and I think the lyrics and the music really just highlight those choices that are available. And I mean, what's good for one person might not be so for the next. And the music.
But it's good to have positive voices there. You need those positive voices, because there's a lot of negativity, and I guess we're seeing that now as well. So
and a lot of people don't know necessarily that they don't mean to put women down when they're talking about put them in your mouth or whatever, and it's just the lyrics that these guys write, and in their own rights, they're great artists. I mean, the music has such a great vibe, it gels so well, but I mean, it's what you get out of music too. And personally, I like to get something out of music that will help me grow as a person. I like music to make me feel good, and I like to get a good message from it. So I think the message that comes through in your music is really important, and that's what I love about your music. I mean, just the message that comes through, it's just great stuff.
Yeah, I think like I mentioned before about how the music resonated with me when I was younger. Hand in hand with that, some of the stuff that I listened to when I was younger influenced how I thought. It influenced how I behaved, and both in positive and negative ways.
Yeah.
And understanding the power that has. And when I put something out there, I want it to have you know, some sort of life in it that people can actually draw from. Because I feel like in a world today, and as you see, you just have to look at the news today, there's so much suffering and there's so much pain and confusion and stuff. So we want to be that voice that is, you know, crying out, I guess, and saying, you know, we understand, and just giving that positive aspect.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, I'm going to roll one of these 2 music videos, and look, you know, I really do like the most recent video, which was the one with the Outlaws. I really like that, but I'll roll this one first. It's you know, a few years old now, but it's still a great song, great clip, and it's got a little bit of a drug use, adult themes warning at the start. You know,
I think we should just put that on all of our shows.
Yeah.
Just a warning. We don't know what these people will do.
All right, you're with Genesis, Pete and Rach, Underground Radio Live.
Oh, man. Who's that? Not you, go away. I'm trying to focus on something better. Hi, bro. Where are you off to? Man, I'm moved on. I'm doing my own thing now. Catch you later. I'll see you whenever, man. Yeah, whatever.
Are really evil. The world is losing consciousness. I see it in the people. It all revolves around ourselves. We pay no attention to His Majesty. Then wonder why our lives are so corrupted in the tragedy. As long as we're in our comfort zone, it seems that things are kosher. Once you step outside your fears, it's up to you to make the most of. Had a vision since my youth, it all sprouted from a seed. Had to cultivate my gifts, and now the hopeless I can feed. What's a life without a purpose? Like a thing without a poem. To say He don't exist, it's like a dream without a song. I know it's burning deep inside you like the flame is at the spark. Keep on pushing through the tunnel when you can make it through the dark. Just when you start to give us, when your blessings about to come. Don't you fall into the pressure, cause this race you gotta run. And no matter what the struggle, keep your faith and never fold. Always on your post, standing firm forever, whoa. Yeah. I'ma push to the edge. Ride this away to the very end. Smash my limits, I can't be held. Back to the full, baby, come 8 p.m. The clock is ticking, I'ma push to the edge. Ride this away to the very end. Smash my limits, I can't be held. Back to the full, baby, come 8 p.m.
Got my target on lock, homie, I ain't gonna hesitate. Only way is forward, all I know is to levitate. I'm a heavyweight and my sound resonates. Haters, they can keep the hate, I do this for the reprobate. Instigate truthful lyrics for the ones astray. We keep it real and say what the others are afraid to say. Call me outcast, homie, I'm a castaway. Living on the front line while you bang from your hideaway. But I can't ride away if I can't testify. Multiply these talents or I've lived undignified. What does that signify? That I ain't living right. Too afraid to do away with fear that to rule my life. Life is too short and it's time to play. Take the talents from my king, treat them like a pathway into the call of Him till He takes me away. This be carpe diem, homie, time to seize the day. Yeah. The clock is ticking, I'ma push to the edge. Ride this away to the very end. Smash my limits, I can't be held. Back to the full, baby, come 8 p.m. The clock is ticking, I'ma push to the edge. Ride this away to the very end. Smash my limits, I can't be held. Back to the full, baby, come 8 p.m.
West up, stay smobbing on that great command. mission. Hog mob, don't be pimped, man, we running with vision. The attacks is coming strong, but we never surrender, cause we hooked on God in love with no agenda. You may have summertime sadness like Lana Del Rey. Allow the Lord to redeem your life so you can seize the day. Don't be a hopeless wanderer, but rather a lover of the light, cause where you invest your love, you invest your life. Now get your hands raised up like the ceiling can't hold you, giving praise to Yahweh. Ignore what the devil done told you. He's a dirty rat, he's a filthy bass. Remind them of his future when he brings up your past. Only what you do for Christ is gonna last. No time to relax, just smash and hit the gas. Keep it cracking from the Golden State to the Gold Coast. Living life to the fullest, yada deeper than most.
The clock is ticking, I'ma push to the edge. My heart is away from the very end. Smash my limits, I can't be held. Life to the full, baby, cause ATM. The clock is ticking, I'ma push to the edge. My heart is away till the very end. Smash my limits, I can't be held. Life to the full, baby, cause ATM.
I'm just trying to work out what that sound is in the background, Rach.
Yeah, there's a little sound going on. It sounded like fireworks. Hey, great song. I really love how musical that is.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And I mean, that's the thing about underground radio, is it is a platform for the artists, you know. So, I mean, that's the thing that I want you to know tonight too, Genesis, is that, yeah, I mean, anything you want to say, any shout-outs you want to do, I mean, people are probably tuning in to see you tonight. So that's what the platform's all about. It's your platform to talk to some of the contacts you have overseas, interstate. Anyone that you've got a message for, bro?
You know what?
Don't be afraid to indulge.
That was muted, and all I heard was the last bit about shout-outs.
Oh, right, yeah, because, well, I did mute your mic, so we couldn't hear any sound. I mean, I can just dump the call and come back at the end of the song. We did that the other night.
Well, that's all right. We'll send you a link so you can rewatch the whole program afterwards anyway, so you can watch it again.
Yeah, that's right.
So, yeah, that's a great song, and I just love how musical it is, and just wondering, like, how did you meet Solomon G and Minister R&B? How did that collab come about?
Mr. G was probably on MySpace back in the day, I would say.
Yeah.
I just remember hearing a song by this dude that sounded like Tupac. And I was like, who is this guy? And then we connected because we were kind of in the same industry. And, yeah, we just connected from there. And R&B was through Seven because he was part of Hog Mob at one point. So that's how that was formed. And Seven was actually meant to come out for that last tour in 2013. Like, he got banned from the country.
Yeah.
So it was a last-minute change that we ended up bringing those two out instead. Yeah, so, but that's kind of how I was connected with them.
Don't you think that, you know, customs could sometimes, I mean, I know they must make exceptions for artists and, you know, performers, people that are going to be, you know, either acting in films or performing on stage. Don't you think they get a bit carried away with not letting people into the country? You know, it's like, crikey, what'd this guy do? You know, it can't be that bad. You know, they all got to do is have a few traffic offences and they won't let you in, you know.
Well, they let Snoop in. Snoop,
yeah.
There were a few things with Snoop, and they let him. And I've heard of artists not being able to get visas or whatever, but with Seven, what it was, he was going in and out of Canada doing ministry tours and stuff like that. And because of his previous rap sheet to do with drugs, the Canadian border customs started thinking, why are you coming in and out of the country? You know, are you moving something? And so they banned him. And what happens is when you get banned from like somewhere like Canada, you get
Yeah.
from the UK, and you get banned from Australia.
Yeah.
So in order for us to bring him out, it was actually going to cost us a lot more money to be able to do it. And then we had to have a lot of sponsors and all sorts of stuff. And
Yeah.
even then they were like, we probably won't leave the country.
Yeah.
So
Wow, that's a shame, isn't it? It doesn't seem like they have much forgiveness for people that have changed their lives and are, you know, moving on to something really positive. So, yeah, it's unfortunate, isn't it, to have your rap sheet follow you when you've changed your whole life.
Well, especially like, so I had the opportunity to go over to California and do a Christmas event with Seven in his neighborhood where he grew up, where, you know, all his charges were where he was involved in the gang life and stuff. And to go to this event and see like the local mayor lets them use whatever they want whenever they need for their events because they see them as positive, especially within a gang affiliated area. The police come out to support their events, the same police that used to arrest him.
That's right.
They're supporting him. So they've recognized that there's a change there.
Yeah.
But, you know, not everyone's as forgiving, I guess.
Well, that's right. I mean, they're reformed people, and in many instances, they're people that have changed their way of life completely through their faith in God. You know, and I think the police and, you know, local governments and all kinds of different authorities, you know, respect that and appreciate that. And if it wasn't for, you know, the experiences, you know, a lot of these guys had early in life making mistakes, as a lot of young people do, that he wouldn't be the performer that he is today. You know, he wouldn't be the influence and the great figure that he is, you know, for young people, and the inspiration that he is for, you know, for younger people that look up to him. And, you know, you can give them a bit of advice about, you know, this is the sort of thing you don't really want to get mixed up in, because this is where it leads, and this is what happens. And it's again what I was talking about earlier about the choices in life, you know.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, some of the absolute best people I know, when you talk about shout outs, there's a guy, Johnny 316, he's part of the commission. You know, his story, you know, he's another one very similar, I guess, in some ways to Seven, in my opinion. You know, but he's one of the best people I know, and he's making a difference, and he's going into like juvenile prisons and spending time mentoring kids and teaching them about God. And this is a guy that society could look at, you know, his past and his record and say, well, you know, we don't accept that. And yet he's probably making more of a difference than anybody else I know. You know, so you can't, it's a shame that, you know, sometimes these decisions we make when we're young and immature follow us forever.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's still relatable to people that can see that and go, okay, well, I can change too.
Yeah. Hey, tell us a little bit about Hog Mob. I don't know too much about it, only, you know, what I've seen online, and just following Seven and just seeing, you know, music videos and just, you know, just random bits of video shot of, you know, stuff they do outdoors and that. But just tell us a bit about Hog Mob, you know, how they formed and what they're about and so on.
Yeah. So Hog Mob was founded by Seven. That's the ministry and when he got into music, and it stands for Hooked on God, Ministry Over Business. And I guess what they're trying to do is use their platform, not for, you know, what other artists use it for, as far as like making money and building their own wealth or whatever it may be. But they really are like, okay, we come from these communities where people don't care, where we're forgotten about. And we've come from those communities and we feel like we have an answer that can help people. And so what they do is they literally give their whole lives. Like Seven doesn't have a job. He makes his music, and his music funds the touring that he does and the ministry does, so that they can travel from city to city, and they go to the worst neighborhoods and they throw these big concerts and give away food and toys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that really stems from them all coming from those communities and being like, if we're going to see change, then we need to be the change.
Yeah. I mean, it looks dangerous. I mean, some of the individuals that are there, I mean, they just look like such hardcore dudes. But the most lovely people. Like when I met Seven when he was here, I mean, such a nice guy. Just don't meet people like that every day of the week, and somebody who's seen it all. He's got a lot to tell.
We became friends because he's only a year older than me. But like he got into the music industry when he was about 17, 18 years old. And at that time I was starting to look for positive music that kind of had that West Coast gangster sound that I like to listen to.
Yeah.
And I stumbled upon him. And then we became friends because I was trying to get his music in Australia. That's how we connected. Again, on MySpace. I was like, where can I get your music? Because it's not in the stores. And I was ordering it in. At that time, you'd pay like $60 for an imported CD at some hip hop shop back then. And that's how we connected. But even when we connected, like he'd started to like follow God, but he was still very much in a different life. And I think being able to see like how God changed his life and to see where he is now, and the impact that his ministry and Hog Mob have all around the world is quite amazing. But he's seen it all, he's done it all, everybody.
Do you find as an artist, that sometimes you get to a point where, I don't know, even with like what we're doing here, I mean, we're doing this 5 nights a week, and it is a commitment, and sometimes I get to a point where I just, I could throw the towel in, but I'm not going to, because I think it's a discipline thing too. And the longer you keep doing something, the better you get at it too. And we're getting more and more interest and followers and appreciation with what we're doing as well. But do you find that as an artist too, that you sort of get to a point where you think, I could just throw it in? How do you keep going?
To be honest with you, like after the last time I saw you guys in 2013, I pretty much did throw it in after that tour. I walked away from that tour extremely burnt out. And there were just a lot of things that were going on with me, and I think I went into this phase of depression, and I walked away from music for quite a long time. Even the commission, I think a lot of them were just like, what's going on? Because, we were, that was our 3rd tour, and we were like traveling around the country and stuff. And I couldn't go on. Like at that point in time with my kids and my family and stuff, I had to let it go, but I couldn't let it go forever. I mean, recently in the last couple of years, I've got to this point now where I'm like, all right, so how can I use this season of my life, usually to, help others that maybe are going through some of the things that I went through.
Yeah.
And I think that's the artistic side of it is, from the business perspective, yeah, you can walk away from it, but from the artistic perspective, like we were saying earlier, it's an outlet. And when I see people relate to it, and when people say like, oh, that song really meant something to me, or whatever it may be, that's what gives me the drive to keep going.
Yeah. But as you said before, you found at one point, you were feeling depression, and I mean, and that was the thing originally that sparked this, what we call radiotherapy. It was during lockdown that Rachel and I just, what are we going to do for all this time? It's like we've got this studio, so let's just, put it live on and get artists in and, play some music videos, and it's sort of growing from there. But,
I think I was actually literally suffering from severe anxiety at the beginning of COVID when they were locking down our business around our ears, and it was quite terrifying. And I remember that first weekend, I was like having panic attacks and like, what are we going to do? And so I just had to let all that go, and I did a lot of praying that weekend. And after that, we sort of just came out of it like, it's all going to be okay. So
I think that's one of the positive things I've seen out of this whole COVID situation is you've seen a lot of people like yourself who have now gone on to, do live streaming and things like this nature. There's a lot more access for people, and I guess because we're all stuck in our homes, I've seen a lot of things popping up where, people are engaging in media like this in a different way now. And to me, that's a positive out of this whole situation, to be able to see that, there's a wider platform as far as streaming goes now, and people tuning into live chats and stuff like that. That's a really cool thing to come out of this.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, if you were in the business of selling podcasting equipment or musical equipment, like we've tried to, everything's on back order. I can't get a MIDI. It's like, you wanted to kind of have those things before the lockdown occurred, but, in hindsight.
Yeah, I wish I had shares in Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah, or even Rode have sold out of, most of their mics and microphone boom arms, and Shure, you try and get yourself a Shure SMB7 or whatever it's called, they're just like sold out for months and months and months ahead. But yeah, I heard someone the other day saying that if you want to try and order something online, just go to one of the, not the main B&H or any of those. Just go to some of the smaller ones and just put your order in, and it won't take that long to get it filled.
Okay.
But yeah, it's definitely it's an outlet, and I think I know artists personally, and that's what music is for them. It's an outlet. I mean, I love to play the guitar myself, not professionally, but just strum away at night, late at night, and I just find it's just soothing, and it's just a way of releasing a bit of the tension. Do you like writing? I mean, is that the time where you feel you got to be in the right frame of mind, and I suppose the right vibe to write.
Yeah, I've actually found, so for me, I've found with the whole COVID thing, suddenly you're like a homeschool teacher and you're still juggling work. For us, we were still juggling work. Our work didn't change. So I've found it harder to be in the creative zone over this period, and the kids have just gone back to school over the last couple of weeks. And today I was driving back from dropping them to school, listening to some music, and I went into the zone. And so today I've finally been working on music. But for me, it's definitely like I've got to be there in my head to be able to really do it now.
Yeah, the kids going back to school was like relief, wasn't it? Big relief.
But I'm so happy to take them to school every day.
Actually, the funny thing is our kids were relieved to go back to school too. That is hilarious. And so this new album that you're working on, is this a solo album, or are you going to be collabing with new artists as well?
Look, it's a solo album, but I would say the songs on there will have a collaborative aspect to it. So there's different artists that I always work with. So I always work with our commission crew, and then there's some new artists that I've worked with before as well. I've always been like that. I start working on a song and I can hear, okay, that person needs to be on this song, and so I start sending them out.
Yeah.
So it ends up being like, an album full of people.
Yeah. Yeah, like I can't wait till you get the next one out for sure.
And so where's all your music available? So if people want to go download it or buy it or support you or that sort of thing, like where would they go to find you?
Well, the central place would be our website, which is iamlegacy.net. And that has links to all our Facebook, Instagram, Spotify. You can buy our music on there, but it is pretty much on every digital platform. So, anywhere you stream, anywhere you download, you should be able to find it.
Brilliant. And have you got plans to tour again?
I want to. I would love to. It was quite sad because we had plans. So our tour in 2014 was going to be youngsters who, are a founding group as far as gospel hip hop goes. And we were going to bring them out here in 2014. And like I said, at that time, I walked away from everything. And one of the guys in the group, Solo, he just passed away a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, and
yeah.
that hit you really hard, didn't it?
Yeah, it was just sudden. That hard, I think, because he was not too much older than me and fit and healthy and had a heart attack and died.
Wow.
And I think, like I've always been, like when people pass away, you realize like how fragile life is, I guess. But I think this one hit me personally a bit harder because, I think it solidified to me that, tomorrow's not promised and,
Yeah.
Make the most out of life. But he had mentioned to me just a couple of weeks before he passed away that he still wants to come out to Australia. And, it wasn't on the cards, but it would have been something I would have loved to do for sure. But, I would love to do a commission tour and get all the guys together and travel like we used to. Yeah, it was just the best memories I've got are from those tours that we did.
Well, man, I've been itching to roll this music video from you with the Outlaws, so I'm going to let this one loose. This is Take Me Home, Genesis. You're on Late Night Underground Radio. Pete and Rach, thanks for tuning in, guys.
Feeling lost and out of place. Empty eyes look upon my face. Take me home. Take me home. Take me home.
Yeah. Somebody help me, tell me where to go from here. Cause even thugs cry, but do the Lord care? Staring through the darkness, trying to say a prayer. Screaming at my demons while I flee them in despair. Lord have mercy, Jesus Christ, please forgive me. Let me sleep tonight. Cause the memories of criminal extremities never fade. Internal heart hemorrhages take me away.
Kinda hard to do right and be a child of God. When you live in that street life, baby, times is hard. Born to be a king, got played like a pawn. Like nobody don't care or love you till you gone. Singing that sad song, how they wish you held on. Live fast, die young, the life of an outlaw. Me, I'm trying to change the cycle, I wanna live long. One day we gotta pay for everything we did wrong.
Feeling lost and out of place. Empty eyes look upon my face. Take me home. Take me home. Take me home.
Tunnel vision, my decision was believing me. Bank account on me, I put it all on me. Face to face with my fears and went head up. Kept my head up, stayed down, got my bread up. Lost some fuel on the way, plus some dead weight. Now I'm lighter, pass me a lighter and watch me levitate. I stay way above that, way above that. And if you know what it is, then you know who I'm rocking with.
Can't fly by day, flee into night. What type of life is this? To reach the bliss I have to fight. Summon up the courage just to live my life. If love and sin is wrong, you know I really can't be right. Reality dazzles me through my window. I can go only as far as you let me go. Crashing into rocks, winds choose where the waves blow. Pain of my existence leaves me mourning. Alonzo.
Empty eyes look upon my face. Take me home. Take me home. Take me home.
Who do you believe in? I put my faith in God, blessed to be breathing. And even though it's hard, mobbing down the freeway, swerving through graveyards. Speed dating life, navigating through these bars. My self-inflicted scars are wounds that never heal. Begging God to let me feel the things I never feel. Remorse and regrets welcome me throughout the day. Can I ever pay to have you take my sins away? Because it's killing me, these memories I keep. I guess it's really true, the things you sow are what you reap. Can I take the leap, try and make things right? Even though I wanna run, I come undone and have to fight. I say a prayer, will the Father forgive me? Snatch me out the sin and those demons within me. God, I'll give it all if my life you need to take. I wanna be real and sever the fake.
Lost and out of place. Empty eyes look upon
sick of this life right here, this life of fear. Does anybody hear me? Stick shifting to the fifth gear, speeding towards his peers. Does anyone believe me? Shadows reflect darkness in my eyes in the event of my demise. Will anybody miss me? Pain screams forth in these violent cries. Father, just let me fly. Will God's grace ever kiss me?
Love the song, love the clip. Take Me Home, Genesis and the Outlaws, Underground Radio. Hey, Rach, we've got a few messages coming through there on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. So we got a couple of shout outs. So one from Johnny316. What's up from West Sydney, yo?
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, Johnny.
And we got Joel Sinclair there. And we got little Sammy Stagg. Hi, Sam. Oh, and on Facebook, we've also got D4C tuning in. Good to see you there.
I got D4C. Cool. Hey, can you hear me, Tim?
I can now. I don't know why, but after the song, it
yeah, I think there's so many different ways to do what we're doing, and I think I maybe need to do some things slightly differently.
Yeah, practice.
Actually, it's probably better to do these calls on Zoom, but I don't know. I mean, Zoom's good quality. You get lots of people on there and all the rest of it, but does everybody have Zoom? Not everyone does.
No, I think Facebook Live and Instagram streaming as well, but Facebook in particular, I think is the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Everyone's on there.
Yeah, that's right.
So I love that clip you did, and that was with the Outlaws, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I mean, Tupac was one of those artists that I really resonated with when I was younger, and I had the opportunity to connect with the Outlaws, and it all just kind of fell into place. We did, and then they ended up getting booked for a tour in Australia around not long after we completed the song, and so I was like, oh, let's do a video. And it all just kind of fell into place. So we went to Melbourne to shoot that. It was an experience.
Yeah, it's great. And I love the building it was shot in too. So I love how hard hitting your clips are.
Well, you guys...
Yeah, we did one or two, but yeah, I love that one too. I just love the attitude and everything in it. It's great.
Yeah, I really like that song a lot. It was really good, and I like the music video a lot. And
I actually love how musical, like really musical, that your beats are. Because often you get rap and it's just, I don't know, it just doesn't have that same soul. But I just really love the soul in your music.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. So that will be on my upcoming album, even though it's a few years old now. But like I said, I've been working on it, for 7 years. But I've got a lot of similar sound songs. I guess I've got a lot more like R&B type hooks happening and stuff. Just because I'm actually, my approach to this album has been to make music that I want to listen to, and if other people like it, then cool. But I'm really, like I said, because it's an outlet and it's like a therapeutic thing, I just wanted to make it the way I want to make it. So,
hey, we also got Johnny316 reckons that hoodie's mean too, bro.
Miami.
Yeah.
And so before COVID happened, were you doing anything live in Sydney, or what were you up to?
I was actually doing more on the Central Coast. So when I moved here, I didn't know anybody here. I'd never really done any events here. We'd done everywhere else, but Central Coast, not so much. And some opportunities have started to open up. So I've done Youth Life a couple of years, and we've done some events, even in some rehabs and things like that. We've had the opportunity to go in there and do like little concerts and do some music-related, workshops and stuff like that. So there was more of that sort of stuff happening right before COVID, and going into local schools and stuff. So it's actually been really good because the Central Coast is different, especially to the places in Sydney that I was mostly in. Central Coast is very different, but there's a lot of need out here, and I'm finding that when we go into these schools and stuff, there's a lot of kids that are really just thankful that someone will come and share. So I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's totally awesome what you do, man. You've got fantastic music. You've got an awesome message with your music, and you know how to hold a crowd. You know how to entertain. And I mean, I think that's the key thing for any MC. You've got to be able to hold a crowd, you know?
Yeah, I've learned a lot from a lot of people. Like you mentioned, D4C was in the chat. So D4C is always high energy, and it's because he's ADD as well.
So many musos are, mate. You just think when you get them in the studio, it's like it's really difficult. Sorry, man, go on.
Yeah, no, but you know, different people, like just being able to, and like I mentioned, Army Regime, I opened for him in Melbourne once, and when I saw the way him and his crew from New York, they don't just rap, like they dance and they do it, like their presentation is something else. So you just learn things from different artists. Everybody brings something different, and try and incorporate what works for you, you know.
Yeah. D4C just sent through the message, Squirrel. ADHD all day, he says. Yeah, we'll have to get him on the show sometime too. But yeah, he's got a great amount of energy with him on stage.
So with the tours that you've done, have they all been in Australia, or have you toured in the US as well?
I have not toured in the US, no. I've been to the US a few times, but it's really been, you know, within this system where I wasn't doing much music. I've connected with people over there, and like I said, we've done the Hog Mob event and stuff like that. But yeah, it's mostly been in Australia, you know, and we like to go into not just like the major cities in Australia, we go into a lot of rural areas, some of the communities where, you know, nobody goes as an artist. So we've done a lot of stuff extensively in Australia, but I would like to, you know, expand beyond Australia.
Yeah.
As well.
I think we're pretty keen to get over to the US once the riots quieten down a little bit, and you know, the hopefully the COVID thing will go away, but I don't know whether it might be this year or not. But I want to get over there, shoot a few music videos. I mean, we know people in LA, we know people in New York, we know people in North Carolina. I think we just like do the big road trip across America, vlog, upload each night with the adventures of the day, you know. Could be a lot of fun. Maybe we'll have to hook up over there and do a bit of filming of your adventures across America.
That sounds cool, actually. We we did 6 weeks as a family, just traveling, you know, from the West Coast to the East Coast, and it was so good. And everywhere is different. The culture is different everywhere as well. There's all types of different artists and different sounds. So you would love it, definitely, as far as filming goes.
Yeah. I mean, there's just so many amazing artists in America. I mean, as there are in Australia, but I mean, just America's just so influential over the whole world in so many different ways, you know, in music, in film, in cars, in politics, in social issues. It's
products.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Products. I love the American-made products, you know. If you want, you know, good made. I love, you know, any sort of audio or camera equipment that comes from the States. It's usually pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I've got a bit of an obsession with Miami, which started with the basketball team, and it's not just because of the basketball team, but when I went over there, Miami was my favorite place. We even considered like moving. We won't, but we've thought about maybe an investment property in the future in Miami, because the culture, I love everything about it. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That sounds like a pretty good holiday spot to me. Maybe not at the moment, but yeah.
Yeah, not right now.
Hey, dude, we're nearing the end of the nightly / this week's broadcast. Is there any songs you'd like us to pull up and play? Do you want to send any shout-outs? You know, anything else you'd you'd like to indulge in before we close the line down? You know, we're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, undergroundradio.com.au, all that.
No, just shout out to the whole commission. I know there's a bunch of you guys on the chat right now. And I feel like I said, go onto our website, iamlegacy.net, and check out each artist, because each of the artists that are part of our collective are all so different, so unique. They're all over the country. And I think each one has powerful music. So I you know, if you're looking for something that's positive, you know, God focused, check us out. Yeah, and we're everywhere. And you know, everyone's doing like amazing things all around the country. So check us out.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you're awesome, bro. And, you know, I really think underground radio it's a platform for everybody. So, I mean, people can get on here and they can say whatever message they want. If they want to preach, if they want to, you know, drop the F-bomb, if they, you know, want to blaze up on the other end of the video screen, you know.
Maybe we need a little bit of a delay, so if we get the F-bomb, we can just, you know, beep.
I don't want to get into, you know, too much censoring. I mean, I like people just to, you know, right versus wrong, good versus bad, God versus the devil. Let people go for it, you know. It's just the platform's here, and yeah. So thanks for coming on, man. Love your work, and
No problem.
yeah, hopefully we'll catch up with you sometime soon.
That'll be good. Thanks for having me. And I love what you guys are doing too. It's cool to reconnect after so many years.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely have to catch up. Hopefully they'll release the borders so we can all, you know, reunite with the country.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I want to come down to the snow.
I'm not dealing with the cold. Since I moved to the coast, I'm really not. And I used to live in the Blue Mountains, and I loved the cold weather.
Yeah.
But now it's like I get up in the morning and I'm like, what is this?
Yeah. I'll come up to Queensland sometime when they open the borders.
I think that's what everyone in New South Wales and Victoria is saying.
Yeah.
Please, Queensland, open the borders.
But that's what everybody in Queensland is saying as well.
Well,
I mean,
well, half of us are. I'm definitely all
it's-
for it.
It's part of Australia. We're one big country. I mean, just open the borders and let the people come through. It's like Queensland is for everybody, you know?
I know,
It's-
and, you know, with the COVID thing, I mean, what COVID,
It's like
honestly?
crazy. I mean, imagine if Americans couldn't suddenly go to Hawaii. It's be like, what? You know, it's one of our states. Don't be crazy.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it's all over soon because I'm done with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
I
we
hear you there.
I think we all are. All right, man. Have a good weekend. Love your work. Thanks for taking the time. And we'll see you sometime soon.
Yeah, and have a good Friday night.
Thanks, guys. God bless.
God bless.
Peace.
See ya.
See you, bro.
Bye.
Thank you.
See ya.
See you. Bye.
Circumnavigating planet Earth.
Underground Radio.
Underground Radio.
Right versus wrong. Good versus evil. God versus the devil. What side you on?
Underground Radio.